Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Bible in a Year. My name is Natalie, and today we are on day 345. Welcome to the channel. I am so happy that you're here today. We are going to be reading out of 2 Chronicles chapter 16, and then we are going to finish the book of Zephaniah by reading Zephaniah chapter 3, and then we're going to close out our day with John chapter 11. So let's get started. I can't believe we're already on 345. This really has just flown right past me. Only 20 days left, right? 365, 45, 20 days, less than 3 weeks. What are we doing? All right, here we go. 2 Chronicles chapter 16. In the 36th year of Asa's reign, Baasha, king of Israel, went up against Judah and built Ramah, that he might not allow anyone to go out or come in to Asa, king of Judah. Then Asa brought out silver and gold out of the treasures of Yahweh's house and of the king's house, and sent to Ben-Hadad, king of Syria, who lived at Damascus, saying, "Let there be a treaty between me and you, as there was between my father and your father. Behold, I have sent you silver and gold. Go break your treaty with Baasha, king of Israel, that he may depart from me." Ben-Hadad listened to King Asa and sent the captains of his armies against the cities of Israel, and they struck Ahon, Dan, Abel-Maim, and all the storage cities of Naphtali. When Baasha heard of it, he stopped building Ramah and let his work cease. Then Asa, the king, took all Judah, and they carried away the stones and timber of Ramah, with which Baasha had built. And he built Geba and Mizpah with them. At that time, Hanani the seer came to Asa, king of Judah, and said to him, "Because you have relied on the king of Syria, and have not relied on Yahweh your God, therefore the army of the king of Syria has escaped out of your hand. Weren't the Ethiopians and the Lubim a huge army, with chariots and exceedingly many horsemen? Yet because you relied on Yahweh, he delivered them into your hand. For Yahweh's eyes run back and forth throughout the whole earth to show himself strong in the behalf of them whose heart is perfect toward him. You have done foolishly in this, for from now on you will have wars." Then Asa was angry with the seer and put him in the prison, for he was in a rage with him because of this thing. Asa oppressed some of the people at the same time. Behold, the acts of Asa, first and last, behold, they are written in the book of the kings of Judah and Israel. In the 39th year of his reign, Asa was deceased in his feet. His disease was exceedingly great, yet in his disease he didn't seek Yahweh, but just the physicians. Asa slept with his fathers and died in the 41st year of his reign. They buried him in his own tomb, which he had dug out for himself in David's city, and laid him in the bed which was filled with sweet odors and various kinds of spices prepared by the perfumer's art. And they made a very great fire for him. So I can identify with that for sure. When I just go about my life and there's something that looks really good, looks like a great agreement, and I just go with the flow, not even thinking to say, "Lord, is this what you would have?" Happens to us all the time, even back in the day. Okay, let's close out Zephaniah chapter 3. One of the notes here, which I have been assuming everybody knows, but maybe some don't, is when we read the word behold, it's not just like a word thrown in there. Behold means look at, take notice, observe, pay attention. So I just came across the notes on that. It is often used as an interjection. Okay, chapter 3. Woe to her who is rebellious and polluted, the oppressing city. She didn't obey the voice. She didn't receive correction. She didn't trust in Yahweh. She didn't draw near to her God. Her princes within her are roaring lions. Her judges are evening wolves. They leave nothing until the next day. Her prophets are arrogant and treacherous people. Her priests have profaned the sanctuary. They have done violence to the law. Yahweh within her is righteous. He will do no wrong. Every morning he brings his justice to light. He doesn't fail, but the unjust know no shame. I have cut off nations. Their battlements are desolate. I have made their streets waste so that no one passes by. Their cities are destroyed so that there is no man, so that there is no inhabitant. I said, just fear me, receive correction, so that her dwelling won't be cut off, according to all that I have appointed concerning her. But they rose early and corrupted all their doings. Therefore, wait for me, says Yahweh, until the day that I arise up to the prey, for my determination is to gather the nations, that I may assemble the kingdoms to pour on them my indignation, even all my fierce anger. For all the earth will be devoured with the fire of my jealousy. For then I will purify the lips of the peoples, that they may all call on Yahweh's name, to serve him shoulder to shoulder. From beyond the rivers of Cush, my worshippers, even the daughter of my dispersed people, will bring my offering. In that day you will not be disappointed for all your doings in which you have transgressed against me. For then I will take away out from among you your proudly exulting ones, and you will no more be arrogant in my holy mountain. But I will leave among you an afflicted and poor people, and they will take refuge in Yahweh's name. The remnant of Israel will not do iniquity nor speak lies, neither will a deceitful tongue be found in their mouth, for they will feed and lie down, and no one will make them afraid. Sing, daughter of Zion. Shout, Israel. Be glad and rejoice with all your heart, daughter of Jerusalem. Yahweh has taken away your judgments. He has thrown out your enemy. The King of Israel, Yahweh, is among you. You will not be afraid of evil anymore. In that day it will be said to Jerusalem, don't be afraid, Zion. Don't let your hands be weak. Yahweh, your God, is among you, a mighty one who will save. He will rejoice over you with joy. He will calm you in his love. He will rejoice over you with singing. I will remove those who grieve about the appointed feasts from you. They are a burden and a reproach to you. Behold, at that time I will deal with all those who afflict you, and I will save those who are lame and gather those who were driven away. I will give them praise and honor, whose shame has been in all the earth. At that time I will bring you in, and at that time I will gather you, for I will give you honor and praise among the peoples of the earth when I restore your fortunes before your eyes, says Yahweh. I love that. And this is the only portion that I have ever read in the Bible, and I could be wrong. Please correct me if I'm wrong. This is the only portion that mentions God singing. We always hear about his angels and, the people on earth down here singing and rejoicing. He will calm you in his love. He will rejoice over you with singing. Oh, I can't wait to hear his singing voice. Oh, I love that. Okay, this has been a good day for me. All right, here we go. John chapter 11. Now a certain man was sick, Lazarus from Bethany, of the village of Mary and her sister Martha. It was that Mary who had anointed the Lord with ointment and wiped his feet with her hair, whose brother Lazarus was sick. The sisters therefore sent to him, saying, Lord, behold, he for whom you have a great affection is sick. But when Jesus heard it, he said, The sickness is not to death, but for the glory of God, that God's Son may be glorified by it. Now Jesus loved Martha, and her sister, and Lazarus. When therefore he heard that he was sick, he stayed 2 days in the place where he was. Then, after this, he said to his disciples, Let's go into Judea again. The disciples asked him, Rabbi, the Jews were just trying to stone you. Are you going there again? And Jesus answered, Aren't there 12 hours of daylight? If a man walks in the day, he doesn't stumble, because he sees the light of this world. But if a man walks in the night, he stumbles, because the light isn't in him. He said these things, and after that he said to them, Our friend Lazarus has fallen asleep, but I am going so that I may awake him out of his sleep. The disciples therefore said, Lord, if he has fallen asleep, he will recover. Now Jesus had spoken of his death, but they thought that he spoke of taking rest in sleep. So Jesus said to them plainly, Lazarus is dead. I am glad for your sakes that I was not there, so that you may believe. Nevertheless, let's go to him. Thomas, therefore, who is called Didymus, said to his fellow disciples, Let's also go, that we may die with him. So when Jesus came, he found that he had been in the tomb for 4 days already. And now Bethany was near Jerusalem, about 15 stadia away. Many of the Jews had joined the women around Martha and Mary to console them concerning their brother. Then when Martha heard that Jesus was coming, she went and met him, but Mary stayed in the house. And therefore Martha said to Jesus, Lord, if you would have been here, my brother wouldn't have died. Even now I know that whatever you ask of God, God will give you. And Jesus said to her, Your brother will rise again. And Martha said to him, I know that he will rise again in the resurrection at the last day. And Jesus said to her, I am the resurrection and the life. He who believes in me will still live, even if he dies. Whoever lives and believes in me will never die. Do you believe this? And she said to him, Yes, Lord, I have come to believe that you are the Christ, God's Son, he who comes into the world. When she had said this, she went away and called Mary, her sister, secretly, saying, The teacher is here, and he is calling you. When she heard this, she arose quickly and went to him. And now Jesus had not yet come into the village, but was in the place where Martha met him. Then the Jews, who were with her in the house and were consoling her, when they saw Mary, that she rose up quickly and went out, followed her, saying, She is going to the tomb to weep there. Therefore, when Mary came to where Jesus was and saw him, she fell down at his feet, saying to him, Lord, if you would have been here, my brother wouldn't have died. When Jesus therefore saw her weeping, and the Jews weeping, who came with her, he groaned in the spirit and was troubled. and said, "Where have you laid him?" They told him, "Lord, come and see." And Jesus wept. The Jews therefore said, "See how much affection he had for him." Some of them said, "Couldn't this man who opened the eyes of him who was blind have also kept this man from dying?" Jesus therefore, again groaning in himself, came to the tomb. Now it was a cave, and a stone lay against it. And Jesus said, "Take away the stone." Martha, the sister of him who was dead, said to him, "Lord, by this time there is a stench, for he has been dead for 4 days." And Jesus said to her, "Didn't I tell you that if you believed, you would see God's glory?" So they took away the stone from the place where the dead man was lying. And Jesus lifted up his eyes and said, "Father, I thank you that you listened to me. I know that you always listen to me. But because of the multitude standing around, I said this, that they may believe that you sent me." When he had said this, he cried with a loud voice, "Lazarus, come out." He who was dead came out, bound, hand and foot with wrappings, and his face was wrapped around with a cloth. And Jesus said to them, "Free him and let him go." Therefore, many of the Jews who came to Mary and saw what Jesus did believed in him. But some of them went away to the Pharisees and told them the things which Jesus had done. The chief priests, therefore, and the Pharisees gathered a council and said, "What are we doing? For this man does many signs. If we leave him alone like this, everyone will believe in him, and the Romans will come and take away both our place and our nation." But a certain one of them, Caiaphas, being a high priest that year, said to them, "You know nothing at all, nor do you consider that it is advantageous for us that one man should die for the people, and that the whole nation not perish." Now he didn't say this of himself, but being a high priest that year, he prophesied that Jesus would die for the nation, and not for the nation only, but that he might also gather together into one the children of God who are scattered abroad. So from that day forward they took counsel that they might put him to death. Jesus therefore walked no more openly among the Jews, but departed from there into the country near the wilderness, to a city called Ephraim. He stayed there with his disciples. Now the Passover of the Jews was at hand. Many went up from the country to Jerusalem before the Passover to purify themselves. Then they sought for Jesus and spoke with one another as they stood in the temple. "What do you think? That he isn't coming to the feast at all?" Now the chief priests and the Pharisees had commanded that if anyone knew where he was, he should report it, that they might seize him. Oh, the Pharisees. And I love how after seeing a man who has been dead for 4 days walk out of his grave, some believed and some went and told the Pharisees. Oh, everybody's different reactions to him. I often imagine just being back in that day as an observer and just wondering what kind of person I would have been. Knowing myself right now, I would have been quiet and I would have been amazed and just taking it all in. But it would have been hard to believe, because he's the Messiah that they had been waiting for generations and generations and generations had passed and passed and passed Where's the Messiah? And he's finally here. It's a lot for them to wrap their heads around. So thank you so much for stopping by today. Come on back for tomorrow, which will be day 346. Have the most wonderful day today, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye.